tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG doggy.
Hello, and welcome to Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG talk. I am Russ, aka Morris, or Morris, aka Russ, and with me this week it's
PJ Coffee from the Southampton Guild of Roleplayers. Russ, as ever, I am delighted to be here. Joining us also, some say that she is trying to disguise herself as a rogue, but I'd like to think it's just an amazing case of purple hairitis. It's the one, it's the only,
It's me, Jessica from EM Publishing, and I am streaming from a different location today where the internet is patchy. So this could be wonderful for the live
a
stream.
location known as Wales, where the internet is patchy.
Correct.
So, yes, talking of which, we are streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. So if you're listening to this on the podcast after the event, you can join us live at 2 p.m. on Fridays, UK time. That's 9 a.m. Eastern time, and watch and join in, make comments. Sometimes we might even talk about your comments.
no promises.
No promises. But anyway, we've got quite a bit of news this week. It's quite a big news week, especially D&D news.
Oh.
So
going on.
Yeah. So what order are we going to do this in?
Oh, interesting.
I think this week, because normally we go, let's do all the non-D&D news first and then the D&D news. I reckon we shake it up a bit and alternate. D&D, non-D&D, D&D, non-D&D. Because I think we've got about the same number of each.
Right. Okay. That sounds like a plan. Let's go.
A plan. All right then. So let's start with. Should we start with Project Sigil, Sigili, depending how you wish to pronounce it. So, Project Sigil, I'm going to put it Sigil. I'm going with Sigil. Is officially live. So that is the 3D virtual tabletop from Wizards of the Coast. It ties into D&D Beyond. It is now like there was like closed. Closed beta testing?
Yeah,
going on for like the last about a year, I think, 6 months to a year, quite a while anyway. And they're having some demos at various conventions. But now, anyone, as long as you have a window and not a Macintosh,
Correct.
which I unfortunately have a Macintosh and not a Windows, so I cannot. But anyone with a window can go along, download the Sigil client from D&D Beyond, because you're going to install it on your computer. It's not an in-browser thing. And give it a whirl. Give it a try. I can't tell you what it's like because I haven't got a Windows. So.
Well, someone in the chat has left a comment saying, they've said their first impression is they can't update the drivers of their graphic card to run the launcher. So I
mean, that was basically my impression of anything I tried to install when I used to have PCs. It's like everything was homework and a chore.
Okay.
I switched to Macs, and there isn't anything for Macs, but the things that are for Macs do work at least. So.
I'm wondering how much this will bring, because I think last week we mentioned they were lowering the amount of automation that it had because people liked it less. But I wonder what value this brings beyond the basic maps feature they have in D&D Beyond.
Well, if anyone in the chat has actually used it, post something and we'll stick it up on the screen there, because you probably know more about it than we do at this stage.
We've got someone commenting. They said it's surprisingly functional for making maps, but the dice rolling is a bit clunky.
I would say who that was, but I don't know how to read your name, I'm afraid. I'm sorry. But thank you for the comment. No, I've heard that it's more map builder than actual sort of like a way to VTT to run a game. It's more sort of focused on map building, I think. But again, what do I know? I haven't tried it.
Well, would you like to hear about something that I've tried?
Well, I want to finish talking about this first, but
But yes,
Oh, okay. I thought because we didn't have any information, we were done talking about it.
Well,
But
I've got
we can keep on
I've
talking about it for a couple more minutes. That's fine.
I've got a few little bits to say. So basically, it's tied to the master tier D&D Beyond account, so it's not a separate purchase. So if you've got a master tier account, you can share and load maps. I think free tiers can do less, but if you've got a master tier account, you can share and load maps. You also have access to builder kits, custom mini outfits. Why custom mini outfits? I'm assuming that doesn't mean sort of like Barbie doll clothes and things
I think
like that.
clothes for your miniatures in the game, because your character will have a miniature.
I'm just checking.
So
okay.
a bit like Barbie dress up.
Yes. Okay. And unpainted minis. I don't even know what an unpainted mini is.
In this context.
In this context.
A miniature that's not been painted, so maybe it's just grayscale.
So
Because there's a mini There's a miniature within it.
Do you have to paint it yourself?
Digitally, I guess there's a basic version where it's just a grayscale miniature, and then maybe different tiers can choose different colors and customizations for them.
Okay.
Someone said that there's a miniature creator within it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what to think about this, because they've got their maps thing, which seems a lot more functional in terms of running a game and stuff. The comments that I've read, again, with talking secondhand here, comments I've read have basically seen it's far, far, far less functional than the maps application tied to D&D Beyond.
Oh.
Is that just because it's new, though? Will that sort itself out over time, maybe? Because any new software, when it's launched, there's always a bit of a teething period.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be that. I don't know. I mean, I haven't used maps either, to be honest. But maps has kind of. Does maps have like a D&D engine kind of built in?
No, it's just like it's very basic, like Owlbear Rodeo, just a map and then the minis on it. But for me, when I'm playing online, that's all I kind of need, to be honest.
Yeah.
Just to measure distances and know if people are flanking.
Eric Noah, he's in the chat.
Oh, hello. Yes.
Yeah. Well, look, I don't know when or if I'm going to get a chance to check this out. If it comes out on Mac at any time, I'll give it a try. But it's kind of hard to talk. I guess it is. It's hard to talk about without being able to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what was it you were going to bring up there, Peter? What was your bit of news?
Oh, well, I don't know if it's news per se, but you remember last week we were talking about how Celesta didn't have a demo. They'd just done like a stream of demo.
Yes.
Turns out that was wrong. They've actually done a demo, and I played it, and it was amazing.
Ooh.
I had a great time.
Oh,
loved it.
Yeah.
Out of 10, would play again. Yeah.
So
it exists.
How much of a demo is it?
Fun.
Is it like a big demo?
Couple of hours.
Oh wow. Okay.
You start off with level 3 characters. You do a bit of tooling around by the seaside. There's a little adventure that you go on. And yeah,
how does it compare to the previous one?
In terms of feel, it feels very D&D. It's very Celesta. There are some things that were missing, like they don't have the ready action ready yet.
Okay.
I suspect that's waiting to come in. Well, I mean,
they've readied the ready action.
The ready action is not ready is the problem. But yeah, they've got a lot of it. I know D&D, so I know how it works. The things I'm really noticing are the big qualities in graphic upgrades. And trust me, if I'm noticing you've improved the quality of your graphics, it's a big deal.
What about the voice acting? Because that was one of your big criticisms of Celesta 1.
Not just mine. I think if you look, then
you're the only person I've spoken to about it. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there's about 3 voices they have, and they sound kind of similar. But this one does. It's got like a lot of different voices, a lot of different regional accents. As someone who lives in the UK, I felt the localization was absolutely bang on.
Great.
Probably, and this is like a very, very minor nitpick. The only nitpick I have is it's got the Hollywood problem. as in all the models have perfect teeth, like in that peculiar American way where it's like just like this solid line of white and so forth that goes round. Yeah.
Everyone's got veneers.
Just so certain.
I do not have that peculiar American smile.
Yeah, I mean Russ's is closer to that than anything else, to be honest. But but it's like but once I thought, oh, I wonder what their teeth are like, and then I started noticing it was hard to unnotice it. But yeah, I mean, it's not generally the sort of thing I'm that fussed about, and I had a good time. Really looking forward to it. It's a great demo. Worked well.
So it's better than Celeste 1. How would you compare it though to its big competition, Baldur's Gate 3?
Yay! I wondered how I was going to talk about Baldur's Gate 3 this week.
There you go. There's your chance, Jess.
Thank you.
Well, you're not really comparing like with like, because Celeste, you get to make your own characters and you get to decide how they interact with the story, and that's very much in line with how I like to play D&D. Baldur's Gate 3, you've got characters which have their own existing storylines and you're going along with those. So I suspect that if you liked the romance options and having 3 to 4 different boyfriends in Baldur's Gate 3, this is probably going to work out less well for you. If that wasn't really a concern, like for me, then I'm like, fine. I'll be playing D&D and having an adventure, but I won't be having a romantic adventure. I don't think it's going to be quite as exciting as Baldur's Gate 3, in part because it's not official.
You're sorry to interrupt. Your audio has just gone really bad. You sound like you're underwater.
Yes, it's because we have dreadful internet at the moment.
There we go.
Okay.
You've come back.
You've come back. You've swept your head above the water again.
Amazing.
I mean, we've discussed this. Like, podcasting underwater is just not optimal.
Yeah, we do it anyway.
Podcasting in the bath. It's not ideal.
We're really about sink or swim on this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, well, right, I'm going to give Celeste a go, so I will let you know what I think.
Is it on Mac?
I think so.
Celeste is on Mac,
the original one is the demo on Mac, because I remember Celeste 1, it was months before it came onto Mac.
Well, I have a Mac and a PC in my household,
so you could load it on both and play one with each hand.
That's what I do for Baldur's Gate,
Of course, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Anyway, what's the next bit of news you had, Russ?
Your turn, I think, Jess.
Shall we look at some pretty pictures then?
Sure.
So we've talked about some new Dungeons and or Dragons books that are coming out this year, and one of them is Dragon Delves. And we got some pretty pictures of cover art this week. So let's have a look at that.
Look at that.
Obviously, if you're listening to the podcast, the links with the visuals is on enworld.org, so you can have a look at it. But the main cover art, it's a very classic D&D style. There's 5 different dragons on the front, breathing down some adventurers. Looks very cool. Lots of dragons. Yeah. Makes sense with the book for Dragon Delves.
Yeah. They've definitely got very different trade dress now, haven't they?
Yeah.
With the new books, they haven't got that little swash, the red swash that says Dungeons and Dragons. The D&D logo itself is quite small.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess,
I would not associate this with a 5th edition book. I'd assume I was looking at an older book from maybe 3rd edition, or a third-party book, to be honest.
It does look a little 90s in the style.
There's nothing wrong with the cover. There's nothing wrong with this book.
No.
But it just does not look like a D&D book from Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro.
Yeah. Well, they're redefining the trade dress, I guess, to distinguish between 2024 and 2014, because it's not a new edition,
No, obviously.
Not at all.
Can we talk about what adventures are in the book?
We don't know if we know about adventures in the book.
I don't know about the adventures yet. I know it's going to be about dragons, but that is all that I know.
Yeah,
so far
we know it's levels 1 to 12. We've mentioned that before, and each one is a different dragon.
What does it say on the back there? It says included inside.
Yeah, I
So I'm
can't
hoping
read
there's
that.
some information there.
That is
Yeah.
far too small for me to read.
Okay.
There's another cover as well, though, isn't there?
Yes,
You've
and
got the
this
other
is
cover,
the
Jess.
real. This is the real one. So they have an alternate cover,
Oh.
which looks like an 80s acid trip. It looks like
Yeah.
the kind of punk or
It's
like
like a prog
glam
rock
rock stuff.
album. Yeah.
Yes,
prog rock
it's-
album
rock
cover.
metal. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have that on the side of a van drawn somewhere.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean it's certainly something. There is a hallucinogenic purple dragon that's wrapped around a mountain peak with dragon delves in a spiky font. It's not gone full unreadable Morkborg style, but it's related.
Yes.
Dragon Delves Anthology, and on the back it has the sort of artwork that would not be out of place in a new age head shop, for lack of a better word. I've seen on a t-shirt inside, which has a lovely frame and a blue drake climbing out of a fluorescent green eggshell with a I think that's Theo there. Sorry if I got it right. Yes, this is a very black light poster. That is an excellent way to describe it. If we shone a black light, if we shone a UV torch over this, I would expect it to really take off in color. It's distinctive. I'll give it that.
Yeah,
I wasn't
really
sure
like
about it when I first saw it, but it's grown on me now, and now I prefer it to the actual regular cover.
Yeah.
It's
still
definitely
look like a
striking.
D&D book.
It's definitely striking.
But I mean, it's certainly something I'd be like, I'm indeed definitely size of Van Worthy. Indeed, it's definitely something I'd be pleased to see on my collection. I do like this alt cover.
Yeah,
much more interesting.
Yeah. So we don't know much else about this. Levels 1 to 12, anthology collection of adventures. Each one is a different dragon type. That's basically all we know at the moment.
I'm sure we'll get more info as time goes by, but I just thought that artwork was very pretty, so I did want to share it with everybody.
I got a press release in my inbox just before we started the show, and I can't tell you what it is because it's embargoed until 6 p.m. our time.
Okay.
So,
Well, thanks for telling us.
One as well, but I guess we'll cover it next week. I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe if we remember.
Good. That was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Thanks, Russ.
Do you want more D&D news?
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk about the Marilith.
Let's do it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is like art from the Monster Manual. So a lot of people already have the Monster Manual because it's out now. So most people will already kind of know this. I don't know if they've noticed this or not. But the Marilith has traditionally been portrayed in D&D as, at least the upper half of the torso, because the bottom half is obviously a snake, as I don't say a human woman because it has 6 arms, but a humanish woman with 6 arms.
Yeah, a woman with 6 arms is a good description. Yeah.
And the lower half is a snake.
Is a snake, correct?
Yeah.
But the depiction in the Monster Manual, have we got the picture of that, Jess?
I don't.
Did we get that?
No.
We don't. Okay. Well, the picture
of snake and sword is generally what you should be thinking.
It's very bestial. Is the word I would use. It looks like a animalistic demon, still vaguely humanoid, but sort of like bluish black fur and pointy ears and yellow eyes and teeth and horns on its head, all over its head and stuff.
Does it still have a lot of swords?
It has 6 different weapons, 1 in each hand.
Nice,
and each one is killing a different adventurer. One's being beheaded, one's being stabbed. So it's quite a violent image as well. Quite a gory one. Yeah, lovely. It's lovely.
Yeah. Well, that sounds a lot more like what I want from a Marilith than the cheesecake-esque style.
Yeah, it's definitely demonic. The M comes before the N in that word. Demonic in nature, rather than whatever it was before.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't have strong opinions about it, to be honest, because I haven't really used it.
It's either a 3.5 or a Pathfinder game we were playing. This is years ago, obviously like 20 years ago, I guess, 15 years ago. So our friend Al, who you know, played I think it was a wizard, and used the polymorph spell to shape change into a Marilith frequently, which was so utterly broken in that edition of the system. Being able to do that, it was monstrous, literally. Like every fight, right? First thing, I shape change into a Marilith. Right, I've now got 6 attacks, so it was horrible. And I think you recovered all of your hit points when you shape change. I don't think you're still doing 5ED.
Oh, can't remember.
I don't know.
That was the thing that happened, and it was a thing to behold, shall we say?
Indeed.
Speaking of things to behold, shall I do that?
Oh no! Oh,
yeah, do it.
Yeah, you know the thing I'm talking about.
I do.
So the week's most important piece of news is this image that I'm putting on the stream. So WizKids is doing a potato head beholder miniature. If you can't see the visual on the screen because you're listening to the podcast, it looks exactly what you think a potato head beholder miniature would look like.
If you are struggling, if you imagine Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head with big red lips, a single eye with glasses, of course.
One glass, not glasses, glass. It's a single.
Well, it's shaped like a spectacle rather than a monocle. So words are failing me slightly. But it's like a single monocle spectacle thing. Indeed, absolutely cursed. That is correct. Cursed, I might say, because it's got about 8 different eye stalk limbs, which are shooting various colours of rays.
Couple of them are, but which clearly do not need spectacles themselves. So this beholder head is only short-sighted or long-sighted in one eye.
Yes, and that will say, and as is common for many people, they have they have a clutch bag which is draped over one of their eye stalks, or a handbag draped over one of their eye stalks, in order to make sure that they can carry their stuff around, because obviously they don't have any pockets as stands. Which does make you wonder how Xanathar managed, I guess, in some other fashion. It really is.
In the chat.
Something.
I'm absolutely slamming this down next time I run a beholder. Just imagine doing that. Just putting that down instead of a mini.
If you want to go for a horror aesthetic, this is the way.
I guess. It's an aesthetic.
It's very cheerful. It's very cheerful. I am not entirely sure it's in keeping with brand identity, but sure, why not? Why not? Let's go. There's a lot of different beholders out there.
It is a thing that exists. I will confirm that it's a thing that exists.
Yes.
Anyway, so because Hasbro owns the Potato Head range as the toy, and they own Wizards of the Coast, I guess this is a natural progression.
Yeah. Hey, are you familiar with the comic book and now a cartoon series as well, Invincible?
I've heard of it, not hugely familiar with it.
So it is a superhero comic book where, if I remember it correctly, a kid developed superpowers. He's basically Superman type superpowers, flying, super strength, invulnerability stuff. Starts fighting crime. Turns out his dad is also and I think he didn't realise at first that his dad's alter ego was as the world's premier superhero, who is basically Superman. And then there's spoilers for where the plot goes, which I won't go into. But
it's different from the Amazon TV series, which they streamed, because he does know his dad is essentially Superman.
Superman with a moustache.
Superman with a moustache.
Superman with a super moustache. There you go. You can see him in the picture there.
Such improvement.
Has voiced by J.K. Simmons, which is entirely the reason I gave it a chance, because I looked at it, I was like, it's another superhero thing. Oh, J.K. Simmons. He's never been in anything bad that I remember. So I started watching it, quite enjoyed the first episode, got to the end, and then it becomes apparent why the word invincible has a blood splatter on the end of it.
Yeah, I think it's less shiny good heroes and a bit
It's
more
quite gory, yeah.
gritty,
Yeah.
gory.
Yeah.
Not quite the boys, but it's looking in that
It's
direction.
in that, yeah. It's around the boys.
It's looking in that
kind of,
direction,
yeah.
from what I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm on board.
Yeah. Yeah, so the news, of course, is that there is going to be a tabletop role-playing game coming from Free League.
Hmm.
This is interesting because this feels. I mean, Free League has a lot of licenses, as we know, but this feels different from other Free League licenses in terms of like art style, visual, and tone. I'm sure they'll do a good job, but it does feel like because the other things feel in the same sort of genre. Like you got Blade Runner and you got The Walking Dead and Vassal, and they're all a bit darker scale, a bit more gloomy, things. But this is superheroes, different.
It does get quite dark, to be fair. It's just the art aesthetic is bright colours.
Yeah, but it's not grounded gritty reality in. And I know The Walking Dead has zombies in, and
is grounded reality, yeah, of course. And Alien is definitely.
I know, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're using their Year Zero engine, their
always.
regular in-house engine, which surprised me because generally I feel like superhero games kind of need very different mechanics to non-superhero games just because of the power levels and the things you can do. So I don't know how that's going to translate. It's being designed by Adam Bradford, who was one of the people who originally made D&D Beyond. One of the co-founders of D&D Beyond, now works for Demiplane, which was bought by Roll20 recently.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, I'm interested. I am interested. I'm just interested to see what they do with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check this out.
Yeah. Apart from the lore elements to it, I'm not sure how it would differ to another superhero game, though. There's the Marvel Multiverse game out there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure how it would differ, other than the fact that it uses, Free League's own system.
Yeah.
Free League always tweaks their system for the setting, though. So I'm intrigued to see what the tweaks are to make it work for this genre.
Well,
I suppose
it's going to need some quite significant ones, I would feel, because when I think Kids on Bikes, essentially, with Tales of the Loop, Mutant Year Zero, which is animal mutants scratching a living versus a terrifying outside world. There's been a World War II conversion on the cards. You've got Aliens, the Aliens conversion with Marines that are still human, basically fighting desperately against panic. And now we've got full four-color superheroes who can fly and do amazing things. I don't know. It does not feel like the sort of system that was scaled up to that sort of power level.
No, that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, it might be that because not all of the superheroes are equally superpowered.
Yeah.
It might be that Invincible and his dad and that lot are kind of like the top tier superheroes, but you don't play them. You play some street level ones, maybe.
Yeah.
And you just play in their universe. I don't know. I'm totally guessing here. I don't know.
Yeah. We look forward to seeing what they do with it.
Yeah.
Definitely
well, there's going to be a
design
Kickstarter.
challenge.
There's going to be a Kickstarter later this year. There's going to be a core book and a starter set planned. I guess we'll find out. I guess. I mean,
I'll definitely check that out. I am very interested. Maybe I'll get them on Not D&D to have a chat about.
Yeah. Well, I read the comic books.
Oh.
I have, and I think I saw the first season of the cartoon, but I haven't seen. Is it 2 seasons, 3 seasons now? I'm not sure.
3 seasons now.
Right.
Third season's being released.
Right.
I didn't get on very well with the art style of the comic books. Otherwise, I would have bought those. They just don't look very nice. But I do like the style that they have on the animated TV series. I'm shocked to see that you actually watched that, Russ.
Yeah, I know. I gave it a try because I'd read the comic books. I was just curious to give it a try. But to be fair, I didn't carry on to season 2 and season 3. So
no, fair enough. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, that's that. So,
shall I steer it back to more D&D news because we've run away
for a bit of news?
Let's go.
Whose turn? Mine.
Peter's.
Oh, Peter. Sorry.
Me. So, what would you like me to talk about?
Whatever
D&D
you
or
like.
not D&D? Okay. Well, one of the things I saw online was from Ben Robbins at his blog arsludi.com.
Mr. West
or
Marches.
arsludi.com. Yes, Mr. West Marches, and also Mr. Microscope, as you might know him. He's put together a very interesting take on how we should be running role-playing games. So
Okay.
it's like the word manifesto is one that I use with a certain amount of caution, because in these later days, that might imply to some people that he's there like making pipe bombs and so forth, which is very much, I like to say,
Okay.
not the case.
That's not the
right?
word that. No, that's not where I would
Yeah.
immediately go if I heard that.
Oh, well, maybe we read different things and so forth, which is a very reasonable way to go about it.
Okay.
But he's worked together with people like Caroline Hobbs, Mark Hobbs, Joe Wendleys, and Ace Hamilton to produce a Principles of Ground table, which is a pretty short document. You can spend like 30 seconds reading it, talking about equality and respect and the importance of fiction. And it feels like this is an attempt at some sort of movement to get RPGs back to their roots, which happens every so often. But I thought I'd bring it up because it's quite important. It's recognizing that things like safety tools, for example, are a means for ends rather than an end in themselves, if that makes sense.
They're a tool. Yeah. The words in the title. Yeah.
And also how games can help understand the world better and so forth. It's big on concepts, light on specifics at the moment, but I thought it was something that could maybe stir some conversation and so forth.
Yeah. I thought that's what it is. So Ben Robbins created West Marches kind of role playing, which is a style of role playing where you might have like a group of sort of like 10 or 15 people, but they don't all play necessarily at the same time. And it's kind of very player led rather than GM led, and it's very sort of like exploratory. So it's up to the players where they go, and different players could be playing at different times. It doesn't really matter because it's not plot focused, it's more exploration focused, so people can drop in, drop out, different groups and things like that. I've never actually played in a West Marches game.
Well,
interesting.
I tried to run one. I tried to run one once because, as part of the outreach I was doing, I was trying to get more people in Southampton playing role-playing games, and not everyone can make a regular session. But I stopped doing that because the players organised themselves, so it was the same players running a regular session on the same day. And it's like, okay.
So it's not a West Marches game now. It's just a regular campaign.
Yeah, I'm just running a regular campaign for the same people, and they're very happy. But I wasn't happy because I was specifically trying to reach new people. So it clearly wasn't doing that. But I mean, I like the idea. When you have a surfeit of players and a deficit of GMs, this is a good way to go, potentially.
Fair
and
enough.
In practice,
Yeah. All right, Jess, give me some news. Hit me with some news.
Dungeons and or Dragons, maybe both. They are doing a here playtest again, which they are wanting to do.
Another one of their playtests.
Yeah, Unearthed Arcana. So there's one for an Eberron-themed playtest. So that's up on D&D Beyond. So if you are watching or listening, you can go to D&D Beyond and download and check that out. But yeah, it's an Eberron-themed playtest, and it's got like Dragonmarked feats and loads of Eberron-y stuff for the not new edition of 5e.
It's got the Artificer, a new Artificer class, with a new subclass, the Cartographer.
Interesting.
It's got a whole bunch of like spells and magic items and stuff, and then it's got Dragonmarks, which are basically feats in Eberron. Yeah. And there's loads of them as well. There's got 20 or 30 of them. There's quite a lot of them in there.
Yeah, Dragonmarks are a big deal in the Eberron lore. I'm in an Eberron campaign at the moment, and it's a thing that I'm learning about.
No, I've never played Eberron.
I'm enjoying it. It's fun. But I don't know if that's just the table and the people I'm playing with is why I'm enjoying it more than the setting, to be honest. That's always a big factor. But one of the players is playing an artificer, so I might get their opinion on the new version, because I've not played one myself, so I don't really know how to compare, contrast, and comment.
Okay. Yeah. I'm looking at some of these Dragonmarked feats. I noticed that all of them have a prerequisite Eberron campaign. Which I think is kind of odd, because that's a bit of a meta prerequisite in a way, because what if you might want to use these feats in a different campaign.
I mean, Hasbro won't come to your house and send the Pinkertons around to prevent you doing it, as far as we know.
I mean, what's the point?
Well, because Dragonmarks are a thing in the Eberron world and part of the lore, so I think it's if you're part of this world and lore, they're linked to that thematically.
So if you had like a dragon lance, would it have a prerequisite of a Dragonmarked campaign, and you can't use it in another campaign?
Well, like with anything, they can't stop you, Russ. They can't stop us.
But in that case, why say it in the first place then?
Well, it's the same thinking presumably behind the idea that blade singers can be elves only. Like, do you play a blade singer in D&D, you have to be an elf, apparently, for some reason. It's not explained in lore, it's just how it is. So if you want to play an orc blade singer, tough, you're not an elf, out you go. So it's like an arbitrary thing for presumably story reasons, but again, there's no mechanical reason to back that up. It's just like how they see their property going. Like, you can definitely talk about different things, but yeah. Well, I've been looking at these feats anyway. So they've got 28 feats in this playtest document. Only some of them are Dragonmarked feats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's 8 or 7 or 8. It's a number in between 5 and 10. I can tell you that for sure.
Good to know.
We got the mark of detection, the mark of finding, the mark of handling, healing, hospitality, making, passage, and scribing.
Any particular favourites or ones you thought were interesting?
Well,
no. Okay. No. In a word, not really.
And then
I haven't had a deep dive through it yet. But yeah.
Yeah, and then we've got some greater marks which require, as a prerequisite, one of those feats. So there's like a greater mark of sentinel, a greater mark of making, a greater mark of hospitality. So they're basically feat chains in a way, little kind of feat chains. But yeah, I mean, looking at the greater mark of hospitality, for example, prerequisite level 4+. You need the mark of hospitality feat. One ability score increases by 1. You get when you improved intuition when you use the ever hospitable benefit. You can roll 1d6 and I don't even know what that benefit is, so I don't know. And then when you cast Purify Food and Drink, I don't know, sorry. When you cast Purify Food and Drink, you can modify the spell so that every creature within 30 feet of you is magically refreshed, and the exhaustion level is reduced by 1, and they get temporary hit points.
Nice.
That's the sort of thing we're looking at here. Yeah, and then we've got a whole artificer class.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what changes they make, but like I said, I'm going to lean on my friend who plays that class and get them to have a look and hear their take on it, because I think it's hard to appreciate the differences if you've not played that class regularly, because you won't understand the nuances as much. And but yeah, so I'm gonna get my insight from them.
Well, you can head on over to D&D Beyond and download that for free. It's like a 15-page PDF.
Yeah. And I'm sure they'll do more.
The Eberron book is coming out later this year.
Yes, so this is
all playtest stuff for that book. Yeah. All right. What other news do we have? So what we do have, we have a Magic the Gathering D&D crossover has been hinted at.
Yes.
I think
there's a lot of news this week where I'm sort of like saying the news and saying I can't tell you any more about it because I don't know any more about it. There's like the Sigil thing. I've got a Mac, so I can't look at it. the Eberron Artificer. I haven't played the original one, and we're now talking about a Magic the Gathering setting, crossing over with D&D, and I'm not familiar with Magic the Gathering either, but this is Lorwyn-Shadowmoor crossover supplement. Obviously, this isn't the first time that they've done this, because their Ravnica was a Magic the Gathering setting. Strixhaven and Theros. And they all were they all hardcover books? Those they were, weren't they?
For
D&D,
D&D,
hardcover D&D settings, weren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, they were. I'm sure they were.
I remember Theros from Magic the Gathering because I was playing it at that time that came out. That was fun.
Because they put out a whole load of PDF ones over the years, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 of them for Amon, Ket, Dominaria, Innistrad, and others. So they put those out over the years, but there have been 3 hardcovers: Ravnica, Strixhaven, and Theros. So this, I assume, is going to be another hardcover, I guess. They haven't said specifically. They've just given us a piece of art which has what looks like small Paddington bear riding an elk and a little village in the background, and apparently it's a Magic the Gathering flame. It's an idyllic world where the races of fable thrive in perpetual midsummer. Which sounds lovely.
Yeah,
That
sounds
delightful.
yeah.
But unfortunately, there's bad news. It has a dark reflection called Shadowmoor, where its citizens are bitterly transformed and locked in a desperate battle for survival.
Less
that sounds
fun.
rubbish. That sounds less fun.
I don't want that one.
Yeah. No, I would not want to live there.
No.
Lorwyn is the land where the sun never sets. No, I wouldn't like that. I don't want to be daytime all the time.
Well, as long as you have curtains.
I suppose.
Curtains.
But sometimes it's nice to go out at night and look at the stars.
Yeah,
Couldn't do that if it's daytime all the time, could you?
No.
I like driving at night. That's nice. There's hardly any other traffic. It's quiet and peaceful, and things look nicer at night because you can't see all the grime and the greyness of
I look much better at night as well, yeah.
Because we can't see the grime and the greyness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah. Well, anyway, we don't know anything other than that. We've seen an art piece. We know possibly a book is coming later this year. That's basically all we know.
Nice.
So I guess it's like keep your eyes on this page, as it were. That's 2 metaphors.
Watch this space.
But yeah, watch this space.
It makes sense that Magic the Gathering and D&D, blend their worlds and stuff. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm less.
Yeah.
I say less. I'm not playing Magic at the moment. There was a time about maybe 10 years ago where I was really into it, and I was going to like Pro Tour qualifiers and stuff like that. I didn't qualify, just to be clear. I wasn't good, but I was enthusiastic.
Right.
But yeah, I used to be very into it. But yeah,
I have never played Magic the Gathering.
It's a very expensive and addictive hobby.
Not for me, it's not, because I'm never going to play Magic the Gathering. You can't
if you start, no, I'm not trying to. I'm sure I could if I wanted to, but I don't have
think you
the
could.
energy.
Because I definitely don't want to.
Okay.
My Baldur's Gate was one thing, but Magic the Gathering, no,
we shall.
Not going to happen.
All right, so you say. But should we talk about some other bits of news then?
All right.
So this is fun. So Dimension 20. So they do. So as people know, they're a big actual play, and they do really high quality stuff on Dimension 20. And for their next season, they're merging with WWE, so Worldwide Wrestling, or whatever it's called. But yeah, they're having a load of like famous wrestlers on to be the characters playing an RPG, which I think is really fun. Because they've done this with other things before, like they did Dungeons and Drag Queens, where they had a load of popular drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race come on and play games. And I think it's really great because these are generally people that aren't traditionally tabletop role players, and so they're from a different world, but they come in and play and have a really good time. And I think it's really fun because it can welcome different fandoms into tabletop role playing games.
Is this like a one shot, or is it a series? What is it?
It'll be a season, so they do a little campaign, so several episodes. So it's a full season with all these wrestlers. I'm not into wrestling, so I don't particularly know these names and people. But I like watching things like this because people from different fandoms bring a different perspective in, and I wonder as. But
wrestling is kind of show busy as well, isn't it? So there's they've got performance skills, so I imagine that will lend itself to role playing.
And I wonder if, because they know a lot more about fighting and that sort of thing, if they're going to bring that element to their role play as well.
Well, I think they're actually going to start fighting.
No, but I mean, their knowledge of it. Because maybe when they're describing their fights, they'll be a bit more descriptive. Like, and I get them in a headlock called, I don't know, certain moves, or they could say, oh, and like, you know, things like that. They could maybe bring into it because that's something they know.
Pile driver, that's one. There's a pile driver.
I believe you. But yeah, that's the next season of In Dimension 20 that'll be coming out as well. And there has been another season of Dungeons and Drag Queens out for those that are interested in that as well, which I have not seen, but I do want to watch. But yeah, so that was a fun bit of news.
When, like these actual plays, and you see people from outside the hobby kind of engaging with it. I mean, maybe they do play D&D anyway. Who knows? They might not be outside the hobby for all I know. They could be avid D&D players as well as wrestlers. But I do like it when you see these crossovers because it just shows that D&D's kind of, and the hobby in general is just so much bigger than it ever once was.
Yes, it's for everyone, and
that makes me happy.
I like it also, so I thought I'd share that with you as well.
Very good. Right, what else we got in the news? Pathfinder.
In the news,
we do. This is interesting. So there's a computer role-playing game, one of those role-playing games you play on one of those computer things. Not unlike, for example, Baldur's Gate or Solasta. So a company called Streetlight Studios has announced a Pathfinder-based game called Moondrift Memory Prologue. And it uses the Pathfinder 2E rule set, but it's not, as far as we can tell, connected to Paizo, or officially connected to Pathfinder.
No.
It uses the Orc license, the Open Role-Playing Creators license, in the same way that Solasta uses the Open Gaming license to make a D&D 5e video game. This is using the Orc license to make a Pathfinder 2E powered video game. Which is interesting.
I'm intrigued. I've got to say, because of my obsession with Baldur's Gate 3, which I've mentioned for the second time in this podcast this week, it has got me interested in playing these types of games digitally. So I think this is definitely something that I'm gonna check out as well.
Yeah, I know nothing about this company, never heard of them before or anything like that. I don't know whether. So there is a Reddit post about this.
Okay.
And apparently there are some problematic issues related to the person who's going to be running the Kickstarter. But, there's no way I can verify that. And I've literally just seen the Reddit post. I think I'm just going to leave that for now. Maybe I'll have a look into it and maybe talk about it next week if it is a thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about this company or the person running it either.
No, me neither.
Okay, perhaps there's investigation.
I think to investigate before talking about. I think let's leave that for now, rather than potentially libeling somebody.
Yes, no, absolutely. Otherwise, Legal Lawyer 77 will be emailing us. So.
Oh no, not Legal Lawyer 77 at gmail.com. Whoops, I gave away his email address. No.
I'm down.
Don't, whatever you do, email legallawyer77 at gmail.com and compliment him on his legal expertise.
I'm down visiting my parents this week, and actually that's why I'm here. And I hadn't updated them on that whole
Legal
situation. So I was just reiterating that part because it's very supportive family members. They of course don't listen to my podcasts that I do. So they missed the fun story.
Mine don't either.
Yeah, I know. Well, no, what can you do? But yeah.
So what did they think about Legal Lawyer 77?
Well, they thought it was very serious, and obviously they're a very professional legal lawyer, and any tabletop RPG company that solicited them for legal work must be taken very seriously.
Yeah. Well, you can tell they're very serious because they're legal lawyer.
Yes, it's not an illegal lawyer. That would be silly.
They're way better than just lawyer 77.
Yes.
Legal lawyer 77 is way better.
I think it puts the emphasis on the legality of the situation. Anyway.
There's some people listening to this who have no idea what we're talking about, by the way.
Okay. Long-time listeners know.
Just leave it at that. Just look back at some of our previous podcasts. There's one where we mentioned that someone did did attempt to sue us. That's not true.
Said they were going to sue us, but then we're like, JK, not really.
Yeah. Right. So other news then.
The only thing I've got is from Chaosium, but not the thing. I don't think this is the thing that embargoed about because
it is not
on the list.
No.
Let's talk about that.
No, the thing that I was embargoed about was from Cubicle 7. So when some news comes out from Cubicle 7 later today, which we haven't talked about, that's why it's embargoed till 6 p.m. our time.
Okay. Chaosium.
Okay, yeah.
So, Chaosium. Right, okay. What do we know about Chaosium?
They're re-releasing Quest Worlds.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
I don't know much about Quest Worlds, so I don't know if either of you have context to give me.
I don't know a lot about it either, to be honest. It's a rules-like system, as far as I know. Generic system that they put out. That's what I know, to be honest.
Yeah, probably my main interest in Quest World is the names attached to it. Greg Stafford, Robin D. Laws, and Ian Cooper. So, it looks like it's being re-released. And
is it a new edition or a reprint?
I think it has been reworked, but I'm not 100% sure. There's been some tweaks and so forth, hence the various names associated with it, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
But no one wants to say it's a new edition anymore.
I mean, it's quite rules-light and narrative, as far as I know.
And setting agnostic, which I suppose sort of comes with. Not a huge amounts is known about it. It's about 340 pages. So, whilst I hear what you're saying about rules light, I'm not sure that 340 pages is rules light. You could write a 160, 170 page book full of rules, and that is not rules light, and is still half the size of this bad boy. There's some very mixed reviews that have come out for it. Some people really liked the system itself, how it works, crystal clear rules, open-ended and future-proof. It's being released. It appears to be being released under the Orc license,
right?
With a full system reference document, which will allow people to develop it. Which may be why they're re-releasing it, and that's what needed doing.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they've got a lot of black and white illustrations, and there's some problems with the layout, and it's not really been that updated. So it's
a little bit of context. It's A5, so it's 350
A5.
pages, but it's A5 sized.
Oh, okay.
Which is half the size of a normal A4 book.
Right.
So
yeah. So again, I think still 170 pages is still pretty chunky. Yeah. But this takes it down, I guess, from being like a regular massive rule book to just being the size of a decent sized paperback. Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah. Looking at some of the information that I have in front of me here. So this was originally written in 2000 by the year 2000. Year 2000. That sounds so exotic and futuristic. I wonder what life will be like in the year 2000.
I think we'll all live underwater.
That was the exact plot of a James Bond film I watched yesterday. The Spy Who Loved Me. I could not for the life of me figure out the villain's motive, but he was setting off nuclear missiles to start a war between America and Russia in the hopes that he would irradiate the surface of the Earth and everybody would then live underwater. But I got that. I got the methodology.
Right.
I didn't understand why.
Is it because did he own the underwater city, so everyone would have to go to him?
As far as I was aware, all he had was
Monopoly and
one
landlord?
base, one little base. And I
Maybe
think
he just
everyone
didn't
would
like
fit in his
people
little
very
base.
much.
Maybe.
Just
That's,
not being
that's
people.
valid.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it's
understand
okay.
that.
Well,
He also had
Sometimes-
flippers for hands as well. He had web hands.
There are
I don't
some.
think that necessarily makes you evil or like friendly radio kind of thing. Good at swimming,
but
sure.
I think nuking people makes you evil.
Yeah, definitely. I think ignore the flippers for hands. Just go with the nuking people. That's where we're at.
I'd forgotten how camp and wild some James Bond films are. Now you said
I've
that.
been working my way through them all. So I
Yeah.
started with
tone-
Doctor No, and I've been going through all of them.
This sounds like Roger Moore.
This is very much Roger Moore. And I've got to
Yeah.
tell you, when you go from Connery
Sean
to
Connery,
Moore,
yeah.
I know we've got way off topic here. You go from Connery to Moore, the tone shift is, when you do it that quickly, you're watching them all, because I'm like basically binging them over a period of like a few weeks. So, you know, everything is very fresh in your mind. When you go from Connery to Moore that quickly, the tone shift is, it doesn't even feel like the same type of film.
No,
Yeah.
no.
You've basically gone from spy thrillers to
Batman.
comedies. 1966 Batman comedies. Yeah.
Right.
And The Spy Who Loved Me is a flat out comedy, like straight flat out comedy. It's just like Roger Moore's just quipping his way through the whole thing. I don't think he's got a single line that's not a quip. And Jaws, the main villain in it. I remember as a kid, he was quite scary. Watching it now, he's basically a buffoon comedy villain.
Oh yeah.
Not in slightly scary. He's just like this slow moving, lumbering buffoon. You know. Roger Moore stuff is challenging me. He's challenging me a lot.
Well, there we go.
I'm determined to do it. I'm going through them all.
Good to know.
Thoughts and prayers.
What I will give the Roger Moore stuff is the stunts.
Oh, yeah.
The stunts are better. Mainly just because the films are later than the Sean Connery ones. So you've got like the big parachute jump, the ski parachute jump, and you've got the underwater car and all that stuff. That's fun.
Nice.
But anyway, that wasn't what we were talking about.
I will note, by the way, that Questworld is being released on the 14th of February, which is 14 days ago, is an Electrum bestseller.
Oh, wow.
Lots and lots of people
Definitely been doing numbers.
Yeah.
Yes. $20 for a PDF. It's not the cheapest I've ever seen. So there we go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'll probably check it out. I'm interested. I'll check it out. It looks like from the screenshots I can see there, the artwork is black and white, kind of old school style. And it's kind of generic fantasy with a kind of simple core mechanic and narrative system. But yeah, that's about as much as I can tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Do we have any other tabletop RPG news? Because I am now tapped out.
I'm sure we do.
I've got some crowdfunding news if you're interested.
Go for it.
I am, PJ.
Yeah. Well, I presume you're familiar with the Shadow Dark RPG.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. In fact, we had an entire episode about it.
Yes. Where I fanboyed disgracefully over Kelsey, the creator who came on to talk about us. It was very embarrassing. But such is life. What can I say? I like good design. On the 11th of March, we are seeing the Shadow Dark Shadow Dark setting, The Western Reaches, coming to Kickstarter.
West Reaches.
That's something to. Yeah. Well, it's not Western Marches; it's Western Reaches, but it's pretty good.
Right, gotcha. Yeah.
And it's going to have. We don't know all the details yet because it's not out yet, but we've got a bunch of new classes. It's going to be a sandbox setting, and they're hoping it's going to. It looks like they're saying it's going to have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books. If you get the premium box set, and they're going to look very nice indeed, like leatherette bound and so forth, I imagine. So there we go.
Well, if this does as well as the first one, because was it $1 million? It was $1 million Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this one has over 4,000 followers already, waiting to see it. So
Yeah.
maybe another $1 million. Maybe 4,000 is probably not enough for $1 million Kickstarter, but
It's not far off.
It's not launched yet.
Yeah.
Well, if you're interested, remember to get notified on launch, and you could get a first day backers get a Swamp Troll sticker gift. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
I mean, well, indeed. It sounds exciting. They've got painted witches, armored knights, silent monks, scarred pit fighters, quick-witted explorers, and seafaring warriors. And that, I'm afraid, is the totality of what I know about this Kickstarter. Yeah. Like I said, I knew that bit. I told you that bit.
Oh.
8 books.
Ooh, yeah. Wow.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's big. Oh, maybe it will be $1 million Kickstarter then. I bet that's not cheap.
It's a chunky boy. No
It's
mistake
like
about
1, 2,
that.
3, 4. Yeah, and they're hardcover books as well. 8 hardcover books.
Apparently. They will be A5 size or like that.
Oh, I
or
see.
whatever
Okay.
it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Shadow Dark itself is like a little boy. But yeah, it'll be coming out, so yeah, it should be good.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay. What else have we got in the news? Or are we done?
Oh, well, I mean, there is another fundraising exercise that I'm aware of.
Sure. Do it.
Yeah, the Queer Love Bundle, which is seeing contributions from Evil Hat Games, Bully Pulpit Games, Lumply Games, Pelgrane Press, and Onyx Path. It is a big old compilation of games for $50 of a proposed $114 value, which includes Starcrossed, the Romance Trilogy, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Mobile Frame Zero, Firebrands, Honey and Hot Wax, and the Adventures of Team Tomorrow and the Queer Nova Alliance, which is aiming to provide funding towards Outright International, which is a human rights organization specifically dedicated to helping LGBTIQ human rights and amplify human rights violations, presumably no news about them, and advocate for inclusion and equality. So there you go.
Nice.
If you've got $50 spare, this is an excellent buy with some extremely high quality games from some well-known publishers.
Marvelous.
I'm going to take a look. I have a lot of those
Available
games already,
on DriveThruRPG.com. Yeah, I think I may actually have all of them already, but yeah, looks good.
Yeah, I was looking through when you're saying, I was like, yeah, I think I got them on my hard drive, at least digital, if not physical. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've probably come to the end then. Except we've got some news of our own. We've got a Kickstarter running right now.
We do.
Excellent.
Yes.
Just a little one. Secrets of the Grave. Undead Monstrosities and Spells of Decay. So there's a couple of adventures in there. 2 adventures. Whole bunch of monsters and spells.
Yeah. There's a spell called Explosive Undead, and it does exactly what you think it does.
Explodes the undead.
Yes.
Yes.
But it's in this Writhing Codex book that your players can find, which is like very cool.
There's also a graveyard generator as well in this book.
Yeah, so it's like setting up that setting and putting it in. And it's got some I picked this one out if you can't tell me my excitement, because there's some really interesting undead that do different things there. Because I know undead can get the reputation of being a bit passé and like, yeah, we've seen it before, but I think you can do really interesting stuff with that. And I think undead give the opportunity to make some of your players feel really cool. Like if you have clerics, or if you have like rangers that have favored foe that is undead, stuff like this, putting this in gives them like a session where they can get to feel really cool and get to use their stuff. And so it's always nice to spotlight players and let them do stuff like that. So I think this is a really nice way to hand that to them. Yeah, it's just up for 2 weeks, and it's one of our quick ones where we give you the PDF the day the Kickstarter ends, and then you get the physical book the next month because it's print on demand straight out to you.
Yeah. We have a question in the chat. And this one is for Peter.
Did Peter talk about that book
about
yet?
my book. Oh yes, it is last weekend back.
So should we just quickly plug it?
Yeah, if you like. I'm
okay.
Very pleased with it so far. It's due to finish funding on this coming Monday. It's looking to be over 160 pages, which is why and this is A4 count. So
it's about to make that joke.
American letter. Yeah. So this is why I'm suddenly very au fait with page counts and so forth. It's absolutely enormous. I'm loving it. what to say. I've got like a whole pile of pages of traits. I've managed to get a random culture generator working so that you really bring things in. The ideals and taboo systems is going to make it so easy to make stuff. I've just really enjoyed actually making cultures with it, just because it just works and it just like all flows. So it's like, I know I'll be using it a lot, and so I've got 124 lucky backers at the moment. So get in now. That's time to do it.
Francisca in the chat has asked, can we get a link to the project? We got a link handy.
Yes,
we'll put that in the show notes.
It'll go in the show notes for sure. Yeah,
show notes to the podcast, and I'll get PJ to just post it in the comments now. So if you're watching live and want to click it, you can.
I can't actually post it in the comments.
Oh, I can. I'll do it then.
I need to be logged in, I think.
No, that's fine. I'll do it. I got it.
Okay.
Done. So there's a backer kit link in the comments for live, and it'll be in the comments of the show notes if you are listening. And Secrets of the Grave link will be in the show notes as well, or it's on the front page of EM World right now if you're watching live.
Thank you, Grant and Francita, for asking those important questions.
Yeah. So that's it for the news then. Apart from the embargoed bit of news, which we can't talk about until 6 o'clock tonight. It's quite a heresy that we're not allowed to talk about it until 6 o'clock tonight. I think
this has irked you, but we'll talk about it next week when we will be here, same time, same place, live streaming next week. Where we hope you can join us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Or come along and listen to the podcast as you always do.
Yeah.
I guess that's all for this week.
Should we get out and have a weekend?
Let's get out of here.
I mean, it's actually a nice day for the first time in ages. I actually can see the sun and everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, we'll see you all next week. Thanks very much for joining us.
All right. See you all later.
Bye.
All the tabletop role-playing news. We aim to amuse and we aim to enthuse. And Morris's unofficial tabletop RPG.